Watch this when I come by.
Guns firing. Guns firing. Guns firing.
That is so cool. Well, hey folks, back on FLIGHTLINE. Alright, third flight ever. This is going to be a standalone video. This is of the all-new 1600mm FLIGHTLINE P-51 Mustang D. As far as I know, today's March 8th. I checked before I came out here. This is the third flight. I'm the first that I know of that I can see on the internet me reviewing this plane. So maybe things will be coming out at the same time, but other than Motion RC and FLIGHTLINE. So, alright, let's take it up and have some fun. Now, I think there might have been some shorts, but I haven't seen anybody full-blown videos yet of it. So, it doesn't really matter who's the first. It's just the fact that trying to get the information out to y'all before y'all spend your money. $630 to buy this plane. I spent my $630, and that way you can make a little more of a educated decision before you spend your hard-earned cash. Same way I did, but this is my hobby. So, and my price was $630, just like your price was. Motion RC and Freewing do not offer planes to reviewers. Alright, I'm happy with my flap settings, I'm happy with my AS3X settings, and I want to fly her only in high rate, and I now fly the elevator 115% instead of 100%. And I found that the flapped elevator mix in the book was wrong. It's just too much. Right, left, up, down, right, left. Okay. Oh boy. Remember, it's WARBIRD. Get up off that, get up, tail up, and drive your plane.
Flaps up, ear tucked away.
Watch this when I come by.
Guns firing. Guns firing. Guns firing.
That is so cool.
Time remaining 6 minutes.
Come right at us.
Guns firing. Guns firing. Guns firing. Guns firing.
Kind of see them.
Landing flaps.
Just an slight bit of rise now, which is what I'd much rather have. Bring her by slow with the gear or the flaps down.
Guns firing. Flaps up.
What a well-behaved warbird. Reminds me an awful lot
remaining 5 minutes.
Of the 1400mm P40 from FMS, as far as being so well-behaved.
Guns firing.
I like doing that, obviously.
Gear down and ready to land. Landing flaps.
Now remember, you do not have reverse. Even though the ESC has reverse, you do not use it with this plane. All right.
Take off flaps.
Since we have zero wind, let's go ahead and take off from right there.
Flaps up, ear tucked away. Time remaining 4 minutes.
More than enough power to turn on over there.
Guns firing. Guns firing.
That is so cool. There's a knife edge here. Some that's very unscale. Watch this. She will snap roll, no problem. Pilot just had a seizure.
Gear down and ready to land.
No offense to people who have seizures.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Folks, if there's a lot of jerks in the video, I understand.
Landing flaps.
Because we got the gnats or bugs are so bad right now, we're having to constantly swat them. And of course they're going to attack camera pressures more than they attack me. I think one wheel touched. Not sure. Try that again.
Landing flaps.
No,
Flaps up.
we'll leave the flaps up for this. No.
Time remaining 2 minutes. Landing flaps. Flaps up.
Not bad for my third ever flight.
Landing flaps.
Not bad at all. Yep.
Prop is shut down. Safe to approach.
Folks, this right here, I had 1 minute and 6 seconds on a
Timer reset.
6.5 minute timer. Plane is an absolute thing of beauty.
Flaps up.
Absolute thing of beauty. And I'll tell you right now, I think what I'm going to do is, today is March 8th, Sunday. I think I'm going to let this be my Wednesday, the 8th, 9th, the 11th. This will be my 11th WARBIRD Wednesday feature, because I'm ready to feature it as a WARBIRD. And that flight right there was absolute, well, it is a WARBIRD. That flight there was wonderful. And I'm telling you right now, this is an absolutely great plane. Let's go ahead and go over our rates, because this will be a standalone video. You do not have reverse thrust, folks, okay? You don't have reverse thrust, okay? Do not use reverse thrust. It has it enabled. It has the ability if you plug that yellow wire in, but the yellow wire even has a warning on it that says do not use it, okay? In the instruction manual it says do not use it. That's just a feature with that particular ESC, all right? Because if you use it, the prop nut, because you got a big old prop, when you hit reverse, the torque of that huge prop will untighten that wing nut, or that prop nut. Slowly over time, the next thing you know, you're going to be flying along and hit the power and wonder, what's that horrible vibration? Well, the spinner is the only thing holding your prop on now. That's why they don't want you using it, so don't use it, okay? We've flown for many years without reverse thrust. We'll get over it, okay? All right, enough my soapbox. Let me show you my flap rates real quick. Can you see the flap? You should be able to see the flaps okay. Okay, flaps up are 100% no mix. Takeoff, 25% no mix. Landing negative 50% and a 5% up elevator. Okay, that's a little bit different than the book. Okay, when I did the unbox and build, I told you some different settings. This is what I have found to work perfectly for me now. 100% no mix for flaps up, 25% zero mix for takeoff, and negative 50 with a negative 5% up elevator for landing 2-second deployment. Okay, rates, very simple. Ailerons are 100%, 30% expo. Elevator, 115 with 30% expo. The book calls for 100% as high and low. The only one rate, I went with 115 because I just felt like I didn't have enough elevator authority. Now I'm happy with it. And rudder, 100%, 30% expo. All right, AS3X settings. I captured them last time. I'm very happy with them. Okay, the gains, one-time gains, roll 16, pitch 20, yaw 23. Okay, that's the most of they'll go. My priority is 110 on roll and pitch with yaw at 120. Okay, nothing with heading, stop lock, all at 40 on roll, pitch, and yaw. Nothing with a release rate, one-time gains. Now, the nose wheel is the tail wheel gyro. Okay, I'm going to give you a real quick skinny on how to do this. Okay, in there you see nose wheel steering in the blue box. Okay, and that lead is going to the back of the plane. All right, that is your steering for your tail wheel. So where you see and you also see nose wheel gear. Well, that's the gear that drops up and down. The nose wheel steering is the tail wheel steering. You must, in order to get this to work with a nose wheel or a tail wheel, to get it to work, no matter what, you have to have an open channel on your radio, on your Spectrum AS3X Plus enabled receiver. Okay, and you must have a physical servo that drives the direction of whatever it is, whether it's the rudder or whether it's the nose wheel or the tail wheel. Okay, now the way you set that up, okay, I like putting that on whatever channel I get. Like I've got it in my 8th channel, so in my Spectrum that's aux 8. That's where it's assigned. All right, and then the way it's controlled, I don't do a mix. The way it's controlled, I make the control of it the rudder stick. And they work perfectly together. If it doesn't work perfectly, go in there and reverse it electronically. That's all you need to set up to approach the nose wheel gyro setup. Then when you go to forward programming, it wants to know are your retracts up or down, well, whatever they are at the time, okay? And then it wants to know where your nose wheel is. Well, it's on aux 8. That's where I put it. Okay, now it knows where to assign it. Okay, then you have to have AS3X enabled. It only works with AS3X, okay? And then I set the gains at 50% window and 50% gains and the priority at 180. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove to you how my nose wheel gyro works graphically. I'm going to get closer to you. Go to autofocus, please. Okay. Okay. I'm in AS3X right now. I'm going to turn my gains all the way up. Motor throttle cut is on. So that means that all these control servos you should really be able to hear these gyros move. Hear those gyros just a moving? Elevator, that's just a moving, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to turn the gains all the way down. Hear that? The only gyro that's working is that tail. Nothing for the aileron, nothing for the elevator, only that tail. And if you look, you may be able to see it, but as I move the tail, see how it changes its position? Okay, what I want it to do, I'm going to pull a little bit further away so you can kind of see. The idea is no different than the nose. Okay? You're flying, you're rolling along, an outside force or the terrain is bad, causing your steering to be all wonky, right? Well, the purpose of the nose wheel or tail wheel is to straighten out your taxi. So if I have a side force of wind push this plane, okay, what I want that gyro wheel to do is to turn against the force that would turn the tail against me, and that's what it's doing right now. Okay, so if I push it, if the wind comes this way, then the front of that wheel should turn that way to turn that tail against the force. And it's just a little bit. Okay, it has a little 50% movement. That's the purpose of the tail wheel gyro, is just to keep it tracked better. And when you've got ground looping and stuff, if you've got enough force, it doesn't matter how good the gyro is. If it doesn't have grab, you're still going to ground loop. The idea is that when you're taxiing, it keeps you nice and locked in. All right, and that's that. And if it doesn't do it right, all you got to do is in that setting, you just reverse it, and then it'll do just the right way. And then just taxi around slowly in your driveway until you see it reacting. And if it goes down your runway and that real good with no problem, you're happy. That should be all you have to do. Don't overthink it. But the key is, it must have its own servo and its own channel for any nose wheel or tail wheel gyro to work. Okay? Well, that's it. I think we've covered everything. These guns, you put them on a momentary switch. Okay? And that's all it is there.
Guns firing. Guns firing.
There you go, folks. That is one cool plane. And to give you a little size comparison, I'm 5'9", about 200 something pounds on a good day. All right, it's a big plane. And it looks great in the air. Got them invasion stripes. And coming out for your third flight, don't break off your antenna like I just did a while ago. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. God bless y'all, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, God is good. Camera pressure, thank you for filming for me, and there'll be a camera roll coming up here in just a minute. See y'all later.